Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll show you how I built an AI-powered creative director assistant that scans Google News for publications and articles that are relevant to me every morning, such as the business of fashion. It also finds articles related to my favorite brands like Balenciaga and Amiri. ChatGPT then summarizes these articles and provides expert analysis because it's role-playing as an expert creative director. ChatGPT will then send the summary directly to my Google Drive and back up the summary in a Google Doc. Then the assistant will email me a link to the Google Doc, a link to the original article, and then its summary. I built this as a way to keep up with all the fashion news that normally I'd miss. It also saves me time by sending the relevant information and articles directly to me without having to look up the individual topics on Google or on the publication's website like Business of Fashion, because that takes forever. And on this channel, we're all about speed, baby. I'll run this powerful automation so you could see it work in real time. I'll break down every single step, including information about what an RSS feed is. I'll show you the prompts that I use for ChatGPT. Then I'll build this entire thing from scratch on video so you can follow me and build it yourself. This interface that you're looking at is Make.com. Make.com is a no-code automation platform much like Zapier. This automation is going to grab the RSS feed related to fashion trends news on Google News and then send the most recent article to ChatGPT. This automation is currently on. I use it every day and it runs at midnight. I took this RSS feed link and then pasted it into this RSS module in Make.com. So when this flow runs, at the end, I should receive an email with a summary for the most recent article in this RSS feed. That email will include a Google Doc with the summary, a link to the original article, and the summary within the body text of that email. So here we go, let's run it. Click run once, retrieve the RSS feed. ChatGPT is now creating its summary. Now it's backing it up in a Google Doc and then sending me an email. So I'm gonna pull up my email and see if it worked. Boom, here it is. Summary, October 7th, AR Trend Watch, patchwork on denim. Link to document, let's click that first. Here's the summary backed up in a Google Doc. If I go back to the email, I can see here, this is the link to the original article. Let's click that. And that brings me here, AR Trend Watch, patchwork on denim. I can read the entire article. And then in the body text of the email, I have an overview, insights about key trends and designers, strategy, actionable advice, and related links, in case I want to dive deeper into this and check out related articles. So now that I've shown it in action, let's break down each individual piece so you can get a complete understanding, and then I'll build it from scratch. In step 1 here, with the big green square, what is actually happening? The automation in Make.com is watching an RSS feed for new items. RSS stands for really simple syndication. It's a tool that allows you to stay updated on content from your favorite websites, blogs, or podcasts without having to manually check them. Instead of going to businessoffashion.com and typing in a keyword like Amiri to find articles, I can have the RSS feed automatically give me articles using the Amiri keyword. So the information comes to me. The automation checks the RSS feed every day and grabs all the new articles and updates. After fetching the new RSS feed items, the next step uses something called HTTP to access the full article. Think about it like this. The RSS feed says, hey, I got a couple articles that you might be interested in reading. And then the HTTP module says, send them over, bro. But there's an issue when the HTTP request grabs all of the article content from the RSS feed. The output is often in HTML format. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it's the code used to create websites. But it contains a lot of extra stuff, like tags, links, and images, which makes it really difficult to read. And when you're sending this information to ChatGPT, because there's so much irrelevant junk, it's really hard for the AI to actually understand the content of the article, which is why we need to use a text parser. So what is this step doing? The text parser removes all the unnecessary HTML code and extracts the plain text from the article, which can then be used in a simpler form for summarization or analysis by ChatGPT. So the text parser converts all that garbage HTML into plain text, and then a text aggregator sends that text directly to ChatGPT. The model I'm using is GPT-4o. There are 2 prompts I'm using, a system prompt and a user prompt. The system prompt tells the AI how to behave, what kind of language to use, and what role to play in the conversation. The AI uses these instructions to shape its responses. I'm telling the AI to be an expert creative director with decades of experience. The user prompt is the actual question, instruction, or request you give to an AI after the system prompt has been set. Once we frame it as an expert creative director, we then give it the instructions, where it analyzes the content of the article, adds the link to the article, and then exports the summary in a way that's easy for humans to read. Once ChatGPT creates its analysis and summary, it then sends that information to Google Docs, where the summary is backed up in my Google Drive, and then the assistant sends an email with the link to the document, the link to the original article, and the summary of this article. Okay, now that we've broken down every piece of this automation, let's actually build it from scratch in make.com. So what I'm gonna do is come here to scenarios and then press create a new scenario. And then our first step is adding our RSS feed. I'm going to press retrieve RSS feed items and set the schedule to every day at midnight. Press OK. Now I'll grab one of my feeds from rss.app. Let's use the Business of Fashion feed for this example. So I click the Business of Fashion feed, I press copy on this link, and I'm going to add the URL to my RSS feed into this RSS module. I'll leave the date from and date to fields blank, put 1 for the maximum number of returned items. This way, it's only going to send me the most recent article from this RSS feed and create a summary for just that article. Next, we need to add our HTTP module and select Make a Request. Before we add any other modules, let's test to make sure that this is working. So I'm going to right click and press Run this module only. It's running. And now here's our output. So it retrieved the most recent article from Business of Fashion, which is titled Victoria Beckham CEO Steps Down. And then it provided a description with a summary and a URL. If I go back to rss.app, I can see that the first article is indeed Victoria Beckham CEO Steps Down. So let's go back to make. Now we want to process the content of this article. Press add another module and type in HTTP and then make a request. For the URL, we're going to map the URL from the RSS feed, which we can see here. Click URL. The method is get. Now we need to add our text parser. Click the text parser button in the tools. I'm going to click HTML to text so we can convert all of that HTML output into plain text for ChatGPT. If I open the module, I then need to map the data from the HTTP request and press OK. After that, we'll need to use a text aggregator in order to compile all of the text in one simple message that ChatGPT can read. So I'll type text aggregator, add it to the chain. The source module is the text parser, or the module that came right before it. For the text, we need to map the text from the text parser module. Click OK. So now that we've retrieved the article, accessed the contents, and converted it to plain text, we can send the text to ChatGPT for analysis. I'll press add here, type ChatGPT, click OpenAI, click create a completion, and then add it to the chain. I added my OpenAI connection, keep create a chat completion as the selected method. The model I'm using is GPT-4o. Now I need to add the system and user prompts. So add one message, role, system, message content. This is the exact system prompt that I'm using. It reads as follows. You are an AI assistant with decades of experience as a creative director, fashion designer, and creative polymath. Your task is to read and summarize blog posts from an RSS feed providing concise, actionable insights. The user values systems thinking and prefers clear, professional communication with a friendly tone. Key instructions. Concise summaries. Deliver core insights and high-level overviews without unnecessary details. Systems thinking. Relate blog content to larger creative systems and trends. Creative expertise. Offer strategic insights from your extensive experience in fashion design, creative direction, and marketing. Actionable advice. Suggest practical applications and innovative ideas the user can apply to their own work. Tone. Professional yet approachable. Emphasizing clarity and relevance. Provide the user with valuable strategic insights that enhance their creative projects and keep them ahead of trends. Export all text with HTML tags and plain text, no markdown format. Put line breaks in between sections to make it easy for a human to read. Boom, that's the system prompt. So all I do is copy and paste that into this field. All right, next we need to add the user prompt. The user prompt reads as follows. Provide your analysis of the information below. I mapped the text from the text aggregator tool, and then I wrote add the link of the article to the top of the summary and mapped the URL from the RSS feed. Export summaries with HTML tags and plain text that can be easily read by Google Docs. Use proper header sizing based on whether the text is a headline or body text. Okay, so now ChatGPT is framed as an expert creative director and it knows what it needs to do. Once ChatGPT creates its analysis or summary of the article, we need to back up the summary in a Google Doc. So let's press add, type in Google Docs, and then create a document. Add it to the chain, add my Google connection. For the name of the document, I'm going to write format date now for today in month and date, and then article summary. So the name of the document is going to be article summary. For the content of the document, we need to map it to the output of ChatGPT, which in make.com is the result. So I'll add result, add it to my Google Drive in a specific folder called RSS summaries, and then click OK. And then the last step is to have the assistant email me. I want the subject to read summary, and then I'll add today's date. So I do that by writing format date now, semicolon, mm/dd close, and then I'll map the title of the article from the RSS feed. So now the subject of the email should read summary, today's date, and then the title of the article. For the body content of the article, I'm going to write link to doc, and then map the web view link for the Google Doc, and then I'll map the result from ChatGPT, which again is the output or the summary that it created. The body content of the email reads, gives me the link to the document, and then gives me the analysis. Remember, in our user prompt, we have ChatGPT add the link of the article to the top of the summary. So this email is going to include the link to the document, the link to the original article, and the summary. So that should be it. We just built it from scratch. Now let's test it. Let's grab a different feed from my RSS feeds. Let's grab articles related to this Amiri Google News RSS feed. As many of you probably know, I'm a big fan of the brand Amiri, and I actually made a video breaking down over 150 pieces of content from the brand Amiri. I highly suggest checking that out. But I'll grab the link to this RSS feed and I'll drop it into my RSS module in make.com. Now let's run it. So it grabbed the article, converted the article content to plain text, sent it to ChatGPT. ChatGPT created its summary, added it to a Google Doc, and then sent me an email. If we click on these bubbles, we can see what actions were taken within each of these individual modules. So as we can see here, the RSS feed grabbed an article about Amiri's Fall/Winter 24 campaign. ChatGPT created a summary, uploaded it to a Google Doc, and then sent me an email with the link to the doc, the link to the article, and the analysis. Let me pull up my email, and boom, here it is. So we have summary, today's date, October 7th, name of the article, link to the document, link to the original article, as you can see here, and then here's the summary in the body of the email. We just built a creative director assistant together that analyzes articles, summarizes them, backs up the summary in a Google Doc, and then emails us all of the information. I do this to save time and expedite the process in which I get better at being a creative director, fashion designer, and brand owner. If you learned something new or found any value in this video, please like and subscribe. It helps me out so much. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover in a future video, please leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.